Hey y'all, welcome to Adventures with Aggie. Today we have another episode of Fitness Friday featuring Walter Grandez. Walter is currently a strength and conditioning coach at the Philadelphia Union Academy. He's traveled the US and spent some time outside the US doing different experiences as far as sports medicine and strength and conditioning goes. He's also been able to work at the United States Olympic and Paralympic Training Facility in Colorado. He's going to share all kinds of experiences with us about the importance of fitness and his career in fitness so far. So please welcome Walter. Well, Walter, how are you doing?
I'm doing good today. Enjoying this nice sunny day. It was a little bit of a weird weather yesterday where it's like combination snowing and slash slush rain. So I'm trying to get used to it. I'm not around here originally from here, so I'm from Los Angeles. So all this is East Coast stuff is
Yeah.
completely new to me.
Me too, originally from Alabama, so I'm not used to the New York snow either, but we'll get used to it. Cool. Well, can you just kind of start with your background, who you are, where you're from, and what you do?
Yeah, of course. Who I am a strength and conditioning coach. So currently, right now, I work for the Philadelphia Union. In particular, I work with the academy. So we have an MLS academy, which our job is to produce the next MLS generation talent for the Philadelphia Union. Originally from Los Angeles, California, I was born and raised in that area. Been there my whole entire life, but up until the last past 2 years, just to kind of expand my career, elevated, I had to make some moves. So I moved around the country from like Colorado to a little bit of Florida to even out of the country to the Dominican Republic and back home to LA and now finally in the new city of Philadelphia in Pennsylvania.
You've been everywhere. That's awesome. You've seen
Yeah,
the whole
literally
country.
it's been crazy 2 years. It's overall great experience.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love traveling, but I'd imagine it got a little harder, I guess, this past year with restrictions and things like that.
Yeah, I was definitely just taking some precautions and just the air travel and just certain experience with different air flights.
Right.
I think Delta was probably the best experience because there is more social distancing there. There's like an
Right.
empty seats in between the rows, which was nice versus like certain airlines where you're just kind of compact with, and just, I
Definitely.
mean, it feels a little awkward. But everybody wearing their mask and it's just like, yeah, it's a whole different experience traveling right
Totally.
now.
Yes. Shout out to Delta. They're my favorite. I think they're coming.
Yeah.
But I love that. Cool. Okay. Well, when did you decide you wanted to have a career in fitness and strength? How did that come about for you?
Yeah, it's kind of funny because I originally didn't intend to take this career path in strength and conditioning. I started off with an intent to, well, first doing nursing, and then I kind of didn't want to do nursing, and then switched to radiology science. And again,
Okay.
I knew I wanted to be somewhere in like medical fieldish. Then it kind of then turned into athletic training to sports medicine. Wanted to dive that into, and I felt like the universe was telling me even then not to do that because, well, I didn't get into the program in my school because I graduated from Cal State Northridge back in California, and I
Nice.
didn't get accepted to the program, which I was super bummed because what do I do for the next year until like I reapply again? And that's kind of when I was introduced to another program. It was an internship program called it was EXO's Athletes Performance. I reached out to the staff there and honestly trying to get maybe some observational hours in sports medicine. They told me they only reserve it for athletic training students, but if I would be interested in their performance internship, which yeah opened up the world for me to go into strength and conditioning and human performance. So did a summer internship there, and it was just a rabbit hole into this whole performance side, strength and conditioning side. I was still trying to chase athletic training, but literally every opportunity that came up for me was performance. And I was just like, okay, this is a sign that I should chase this rabbit hole. So yeah, one thing led to another. Yeah, got my first paid job in the collegiate realm to then moving on, interning again at a bigger school, a Pac-12 school, then finally to which I called late was like my dream internship at the Olympic Training Center. And then literally, this is where it comes down, me moving from left to right, working with different organizations that ultimately leading to what I always enjoyed was a combination of soccer and long-term athletic development.
Yeah, that's so cool. You have a cool path. And I love how, like, you know, people think nowadays, like, if you study something or if you start in this thing, you have to stay there. I think you're a good example that maybe that's not always true, which is great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. So I want to ask you about all these, I guess, the travel and transitions and stuff that you've gone through. How was getting acclimated to working with these different teams and like different team dynamics and stuff? Because you've been a lot, even just in the last 2 years, not even your whole career.
Yeah.
But yeah, what's that like? Just trying to get acclimated with the
So
team.
it was I will say at first intimidating because the fact that I've never left Los Angeles, never left California, but when I did an internship actually at where I graduated, Cal State Northridge, the head strength coach there, Jeff Kraling, who is now at Harvard Westlake, which it's like the #1 prep school. He's the head strength coach there. He told me, I'm not from Los Angeles. I believe him. I think he's from Virginia. And he told me, like, there's a point in your career where you have to move. You have to get out of your comfort zone and move. And I didn't want to. Like, I was like, I'm going to stick around in LA as much as I can. But sure enough, I mean, it's what happened that it was a must for at least to allow me to grow as a person and as a coach. So, going to different organizations first in LA helped prepare me. Going from an intern at Cal State Northridge to eventually their actual paid assistant, and then taking on a career move, becoming another intern again, but at a bigger school that had a bigger performance model. I would say that in terms of how they develop their programs and how do they execute them, and just overall, like a full picture of a perfect staff in my eyes. So that kind of opened my eyes to like, look, okay, this is the experience I need. So if I were to go somewhere else that is, top notch, that has a great reputation, I'm well prepared to be a great asset for that organization. Like, what can I do to contribute? And which helped me land my next spot at the Olympic Training Center. And I want to say that was the ultimate place that gave me, like, this is high performance, which a lot of people don't know. This is like the integration from, sports medicine to strength and conditioning, sports science, sports psychology, to sports nutrition, just this whole huge circle. And how can we integrate to serve the athlete? So that kind of experience helped me like, look, like I can become an asset for other places like the LA Galaxy, which was a previous club I was at, to ultimately here, like with the Philadelphia Union.
Yeah, that's awesome. I was going to transition into the USOC and your time with at the Olympic training site. So you already mentioned like it's the best of the best, right? Like this is top performance
Yeah.
stuff. So
Yeah.
what was that like for you? I don't know. I would love to experience that just for one day. I couldn't even imagine
Yeah,
being there.
it's crazy because when I was in my undergrad, there was two places that I always kind of told myself I wanted to be at, and that just experience and just be a part of a team. And the #1 on the list was Team USA, working for the Olympics, work for the Olympic Training Center, and sure enough, it happened. I developed my path to get there, and the experience there was incredible. I mean, definitely a challenge because it's at that point where not only like it's still a process for me to learn. They give you an education, but now how can you contribute to the staff? So it was definitely a one-up learning experience. It challenged me a lot as a coach because I work with Paralympic athletes as well. So what I would do for programming or how I would cue and coach one athlete is different from working with a Paralympic athlete who is visually impaired. Or so that was definitely a challenge because how do I coach a certain exercise for an athlete where I'm taking away visual cueing? So I definitely had to hone in into my other skill sets of verbal cueing. I had to be on point. So that place really helped me develop. Again, how to be a coach and how to communicate better, because ultimately communication is the key. Like, I cannot stress enough, like, if having great communication skills, because not only you got to communicate to your athlete, but you got to communicate to other high performance directors, because you're literally working with the 1%. Like you're training these athletes for the next games, which was supposed to be Tokyo 2020, unfortunately, which is now 2021. But yeah, so it was a must. So I'm glad I got to experience that. Like I owe it to that place and to that staff to help develop me as a great practitioner now.
Yeah, totally. I'd imagine some of that, I guess, tailoring and like creativity kind of with your trainings and stuff has helped a lot with what's happened in the last year for you. The different, I don't know, how you change your fitness programming and stuff to virtual
Oh
or
yeah.
different kinds of trainings and stuff. So I guess how did that help prepare you for this? I guess it was unknown at the time. You didn't know you were getting prepared for all these virtual trainings in 2020. But yeah, how has that been?
Yeah, it taught me to be creative. To again, just I've learned throughout, I guess, every spot that I've been in how to be adaptable even more. But definitely that place challenged me, and it made it a lot easier. Where we switched from a realm of like in person training to now virtual training. Um, so yeah, again, it taught me how to be creative because a lot of the athletes won't have dumbbells, kettlebells, a squat rack at home. So you have to be creative. What kind of implementations you have around the house, if it's like water jugs to like detergent jugs to using tempo workouts, isometric workouts, eccentric workouts. So it was definitely a challenge, but it's in a way it's been fun. It's in something about just having interaction with your athletes online on Zoom. It's been fun, and it's been a challenge, not ideal, but it's still, I mean, it's just again just taught us how to be adaptable. But the big skill set, again, just the communication back. I'll always refer that back to the Olympic Training Center, how I learned how to communicate and deliver my programs, again, because every athlete is different, because it helped me a lot when I moved to the Dominican Republic, where now I'm in a world where I got to speak a different language, which I do speak Spanish, but now a lot of the cueings in English don't sound the same, or they're different in Spanish. So definitely, yeah, it prepared me for again, like a different world.
It's so cool, I guess, how all of that translates, and you've taken all of this with you. Can you kind of tell us a little bit more about your time in the Dominican Republic? What were you doing there?
Yeah, so well, when I was doing one of my internships, which before the Olympic Training Center, I did an internship at the University of Southern California. I was working both football and Olympic sports. So during the end of my internship there, I had two paths: the Olympic Training Center and the Philadelphia Phillies. Ultimately, it went to the Olympic Training Center, but I still kept contact with the Philadelphia Phillies. I felt even though if you're not successful in an interview, it's still good to keep that kind of good contact with whoever you interviewed, because I still talk to them. It still built a relationship for, who knows, maybe down the line I'll be offered a job or another internship. So that's essentially what happened, because once my contract was done at the Olympic Training Center, I went back home in Southern California. I was working with USA Rugby Sevens as a sports scientist apprentice. I was there for a couple of weeks until I got a call from the Phillies, and then they were like, "Hey, like we need help in our Dominican Republic Academy. It's a short-term contract. It's an emergency contract because the season was already May." And so I was like, "Yeah, why not? This is a great experience for me to learn." So I said yes, and literally that weekend just packed my stuff, said goodbye to my family, and then flew to Florida for about 2 weeks to their spring training facility just to kind of get acclimated, know their philosophy, expectations, and then on a plane to the Dominican Republic. So I was there about 5.5 months, but there was some downtime. So I had a lot of opportunity to go back home because I was still doing my master's. So I had to go to my school to finish off some kind of like clinical hours. But yeah, just being in another country, living on the baseball academy complex, coaching in Spanish, great opportunity. Would I do it again? It's funny. I told myself no, like I miss home, but in a way I felt sad after leaving, because I felt like I made an impact with a lot of these kids. They trusted me. They enjoyed me coaching them. But every now and then it pops in my mind. I'm like, like I really miss making an impact there. So I would change my answer. I would love to go back. I would love to help out. So, I mean, just these kids work incredibly hard because a lot of them come from nothing and baseball's their way out. So if I can be part of their process to help them, bridge the gap from here to the States to, elevate their career, help them provide for them, their family, for me, yeah, that was a win.
It seems like you got over your not wanting to move very quickly.
Yeah.
Super fast. I love
Yeah,
that.
it's just like I said, so it's these periodic moments. It's just because it's crazy to think back of how many people's lives that I've touched, like how many
Yes.
young men, women's lives that I've touched, just because, yeah, just I love performance, I love to coach, and just again referring back to the Olympic Training Center, yeah, the group I actually enjoyed working the most were the youth athletes, the youth boxers, the elite camps. That's the point where like I want to do a long-term athletic development. So that's one of the reasons why I said yes to the Phillies, because I'm working with that age group of 15 to 17. And after that, coming to the Galaxy, working back in that same age group, and again now still working that age group. Just I really enjoy the process of development. Over, yeah, just say, a lot of strength coaches who are starting this career I want to work with the 1%, which is cool. Don't get me wrong. It's an amazing experience. But for me, I just thoroughly enjoy that development side of it more.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's so true how like coaches touch people's lives in a different way. I think there are all kinds of things that I've seen online and just learning from speaking with different coaches about how like you can hear these life lessons and things come from your mom or from your math teacher or from whoever, but it's different when it comes from a coach because that's a different kind of bond, I think. And I'm sure you've seen that with even the kids that you were with in the Dominican Republic and even now. But yeah, I just think that it's a special coaching to athlete bond. It's different.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Cool. Well, I guess let's kind of move into the fitness strength part of this, right? So, how do you tailor your fitness programming? I know you kind of touched on it with the Olympians and Paralympians and stuff, but what are you working on now with your athletes at the Philadelphia Union Academy? And I guess how have you tailored your training and stuff to fit this team well?
Yeah. So prior to coming here in the academy, I was working with the Galaxy, and I had helped introduce a system. It's called Bridge Athletics, which actually a lot of schools and teams use. But so it's basically a platform where you pull up your phone and the athletes get the workouts, video demonstrations. Like it could be like demos of that's already up in the platform, or me recording the videos, which I would prefer upload them to the app. So that's kind of how I would deliver the workouts for the athletes. So I pitched the idea for our club, and right now we're currently in trial. So a lot of the kids actually like it versus a coach handing them like a PDF file with possibly like a link, a hyperlink that takes them to the video. So this is a lot better because not only like it has the videos, but it has like an interactive chat room, so I can chat with the athletes. They post their workout videos there, and then that way, there's a little bit of bantering with like within the athletes, and there's a little bit of a motivation, like, oh, I can squat more than you, or I can do the X's and O's. So that's kind of nice to do. So yeah, that's how I'm currently delivering all our workouts. But yeah, in the past, it was a little bit old school where I put the workouts on a PDF, or then the Zoom workouts. So we would have that like once a week or sometimes twice a week, where I step out and then I do the workouts with them. But I will admit that when it did get hard was when you're working with the younger age groups, kids that are 13, 14, where they're hitting their growth spurts. So they get into this thing which is called adolescent awkwardness, where their muscles are developing, their bones are growing, so they kind of look like baby giraffes. So now what they look like a good squat when they were 10 will literally look pretty bad and poor because now they're lacking mobility. So doing those Zoom workouts were a little bit tough because not only I'm doing it with them, but I gotta like peep in, like, okay, like correct them and coach them, making sure that that they're doing it. So, but yeah, one avenue of delivering your workouts to the athletes was through that.
Yeah, I think I have done my fair share of everything during this past year, right? Trying to do these live interactive Zoom sessions, which are super fun when the trainer's right and they're like super motivational and it feels like you're there. It's awesome. But I have gone through so many different apps, kind of like what you're talking about, different digital delivery that's not necessarily like we're doing a Zoom class at noon. And I think those apps are so fun. It's so, I don't know, the challenge part works too. I love like, I don't know, I'm kind of competitive, I guess. So I
Yeah,
like that.
it's so like one thing I did, I downloaded Peloton because I believe during the pandemic, Peloton had like a 90-day trial, which was great. So my girlfriend and I, we would try doing the in-house like workouts, and we would try doing yoga, or even going outside to walk or run, which was nice because as a strength coach, like sometimes like I'm very critical in my workouts. Like I will tend to like pick apart, I'm like, no, I should be doing this eccentric workout. I should be focusing on the concentric whole. And I would get so analyzed. I'm like, all right, I think I just need someone to do it for me. So that's why we would go do the Peloton workouts and like, okay, I just need to be coached like every now and then. So which is nice. And it's funny. And I kid you not, if you ask that to any other strength coach, I'm pretty sure they'll say the same thing. Like sometimes we just want other people to coach us, get a break from us because we're too critical on ourselves.
Sure. Yeah. And I think to me, at least, it makes it easier when somebody's telling me what to do rather than me trying to figure out what's best for myself. And
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, no,
I don't know what I'm
definitely.
doing. So I don't know what's best for myself. I'm not a strength coach. But yeah, no, I love the animated, I guess there's a little robot or somebody telling me what to do. It makes it a lot easier. But
Does.
yeah, awesome. Well, cool. And just to kind of wrap up, I always end my shows on advice. So, what piece of advice would you give to people looking to get fit, or maybe they haven't prioritized in their life, but they want to, and they're not sure how?
Yeah, you know what? A lot of people are intimidated when it comes to it. Like they don't know what to do. They're scared. They're scared of judgment, scared of being criticized. But again, you just first of all is doing your best to filter out the noise. But even then, it doesn't have to be crazy as in like I gotta go invest in a barbell and etc. Work your way up to it. I'm a firm believer that movement is medicine. So if it's as much as just getting up and going for a walk, you're on the right steps. So just again, I'm firm believer movement is medicine. Move well, move often. That's the first best step before progressing into something even more.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. I love that. I don't think I've ever heard movement is medicine, but it's very true.
Yeah, so that you'll hear that a lot from if someone who's worked in exos because I
Okay.
came from the exo system, the athlete performance, and they're very big on. I think that's literally one of their mottos. I'm not sure, but it's just a philosophy ingrained there that movement is medicine, which is true.
Yeah.
And then the whole move well, move often. That's actually from the functional movement assessment by Gray Cook. So which is perfect. It literally sums up what we should do with our lives.
Yeah, no, totally. I wish I had heard that a while ago. I feel like I'm late now, but that's awesome advice. Cool. Well, Walter, thank you so much. This was an awesome episode of Fitness Friday. Thank you for sharing your story and giving some advice as well.
Yeah, you're welcome. Glad to come on board and chat. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Walter, thanks so much for coming on the show. And movement is medicine. That's so cool. That's such a great piece of advice and just a sentence to live by. I love it. Cool. Well, next Monday we have Jamal Hill. He is our last episode of this Adventures with Aggie Road to Tokyo series. So tune in on Monday at 10 a.m. to hear Jamal's story.